Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do a video actually that I've been wanting to do for kind of a while, and now that I've like dug into these books a little bit more thoroughly now, I feel like I can definitely talk about them with y'all and share them and kind of give you my like just kind of like general review, just kind of like high level review of a bunch of the pregnancy books that I've been reading. I started reading some of these like even before I was pregnant, just kind of like as a prep for, you know, just like approaching that whole journey. I honestly started some of these like years ago before we knew, you know, obviously that we were gonna have fertility issues and we were gonna do IVF and all of that kind of stuff. So some of these are good if you are just like preparing to kind of go down the road and think about trying to get pregnant. A lot of them do have some information on like preparing your body, things you should do kind of in advance, some things that you might like try, different like tips and tricks and timing and stuff like that, just like for the general TTC journey. And then of course, for the most part, these books are geared toward those that are actually pregnant and kind of keeping on top of your pregnancy, what to expect. Obviously they have a lot of apps right now, which I think I'm going to do a separate video. I might even film that right after this about all the apps I've been using. I like downloaded a ton at first, and some of them I like, some of them I don't. So there are apps that will also kind of keep you plugged in as you go throughout your pregnancy, like what to expect, what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening, things to kind of keep your eye out for and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot. All these books have kind of a slight variation to them. Also, the lighting is probably going to keep changing. I have windows all around me and it's just the middle of the day natural light, so just don't mind that. But I feel like each of these books kind of has something like different and unique to offer. They're not like all just super repetitive, because some of the books can be very, very redundant and just kind of give you the same information over and over. I wanted to share them with you and share my thoughts. I will of course link all of them down below for y'all to check out. And if y'all want to know what pregnancy books I've been referencing throughout my first pregnancy, then just keep watching. I will say I feel like most of these are geared towards first-time moms, and I feel like for the most part those are the kind of people that are reading these books. If you've already been through a pregnancy and already have a child, then you're probably not reading up on it quite as much. So I will preface this with that. I'll also say I do have a whole stack of like kind of baby care and parenting books that I also recently purchased, like a ton of them. So I think I'm gonna also do that as a separate video, just because we're not like quite at that point in my pregnancy to delve into those. We're focusing just on the pregnancy stuff right now. That will be its own separate video as well. And at the very, very, very end of this video, I'm also going to just touch on the books that I bought for my husband, just in case y'all are interested, or if you're a husband or a spouse or a boyfriend or anything like that and you're interested in that side of the whole equation and that experience, I will definitely let you know what ones I purchased for him, in case you're curious. The first book, which I don't actually have with me, I borrowed it from my sister-in-law, is not necessarily pregnancy related, but I did want to mention it, and I'm gonna do a whole entire video on it because I did like read it really thoroughly and I took notes on it and everything. And it's called It Starts With the Egg, and it's very much geared towards fertility and yeah, it's okay. And whether you are or aren't experiencing fertility issues, or whether you anticipate having any problems at all, it's just kind of a helpful book to get an idea for how to like prepare your body to become pregnant, and how to have the healthiest eggs and the healthiest pregnancy, the healthiest like ovaries, uterine situation. And it basically just gives you some good tips and tricks on how to be like your healthiest physical, like biological self for pregnancy. So I will also include that linked down below. It definitely touches on like infertility and like assisted reproduction, but also it's just kind of like general ways to have the best quality eggs and all that kind of stuff. So if you're like just kind of starting down the path of delving into trying to get pregnant naturally, it could be really helpful, and I think it would be kind of an interesting read. I learned a lot from it. Now let's dive into some of the books that I have here in front of me. The one that I actually really, really like and my husband really likes is this one. It's called Expecting Better by Emily Oster. And it's Why the Conventional Pregnancy Wisdom is Wrong and What You Really Need to Know. Kind of chapter by chapter tackles and possibly debunks or supports different like pregnancy myths, or just things that you hear, like you can't eat, you know, cold cuts or hot dogs, can't scoop cat litter, shouldn't gain a lot of weight, like just things like that. Basically pregnancy wisdom and some like old wives tales and things like that. It's very, very, very like scientific and factually based. It references a ton of studies, like a research paper, but much more interesting to read than a research paper. It's really funny, very approachable. It's, you don't have to have obviously like a science background or anything to appreciate this book. My husband really likes it because he does have a science background. It makes everything very relatable. She says like, you know, they tell you not to gain too much weight. Well, guess what? Based on like these bajillion studies, turns out it doesn't really matter how much weight you gain. It doesn't freak you out, and honestly you're gonna probably feel a lot better about things that you've been worried to do or not to do when you read this book. It kind of turns out a lot lot of things that people or the internet or old wives tales like freak you out about aren't really that big of a deal after all, and I've been really loving it. The way I've been approaching all these books, I feel like I've mentioned this in a few videos before, but I'm just reading them as they become relevant. So I read all the first trimester information like right when I found out I was pregnant, and then right before I hit my second trimester I read the second trimester section. So I'm kind of piecemealing these books rather than reading them cover to cover and potentially like forgetting stuff that might be relevant as I get closer to that time in my pregnancy. This is one of the books I read like years ago when I was first like starting to even like think about starting a family, and this is the Mayo Clinic Guide to a Healthy Pregnancy. Keep in mind a lot of these books are constantly getting updated or having like new editions come out, so the ones I'm showing you may or may not be the most updated edition. Whatever I have linked will hopefully and most likely be the most like updated revised version, but I really like the Mayo Clinic. Again, I feel like the Mayo Clinic is fairly like highly regarded and well respected. This book is one of the ones that goes month by month, so it's not like broken down by trimester or by week. It just goes like month 1, month 2, month 3. So like for example, here's month 10 and it includes weeks 37 to 40. Like I said, I'm not in my 10th month obviously, but I have read this one before, and I've been highlighting all of these books as I've been going through. I've just been highlighting information that I find relevant or kind of interesting, and then either I go back and look at it later, or I've actually been like keeping some notes just in a Google Doc of things that I feel like are super helpful to reference. So that's something I would definitely suggest. Highlight, keep notes. I really like this book. It's all in color. What I really like is it has a lot of charts. I love the charts. The first couple of chapters are all just about preparing to get pregnant, things to consider, and then once you get to the sections about like when you're actually pregnant, it has pictures of like what the baby actually looks like and like a size reference. And once you're in each month, like I said, even though it's broken down by month, like each chapter, it does kind of go week by week within that chapter. Week 14, week 15, week 16. So it touches like very briefly on the specific weeks, and then it kind of goes into more of the major things that are happening with the baby and with your body throughout that month. It gives you like some pregnancy specific exercises or stretches that it would recommend. I've just found this to be super helpful. It gives you like a lot of prompts too, like appointments you should be scheduling and like thinking ahead to when you go back to work and childcare, and how to tell your work that you're gonna be taking maternity leave. It's not just about you and the baby, but it's just kind of about life when you're pregnant. And at the end it has huge chapters about labor, delivery, breastfeeding, C-sections, once you're home with the baby. Like this is a very comprehensive book. Like this covers everything. I love this. I feel like it's super informative. I've learned a lot. This next one is called Pregnancy, Childbirth, and the Newborn, the Complete Guide. This one I'm not like a gigantic fan of, partially because it's all in black and white, which I don't know, something about that is just boring to me. This book has, again, a lot of similar information in terms of like the before pregnancy stuff and like the birth plan and the postpartum stuff too. So this is pretty comprehensive as well, but I don't really like how it's set up quite as much. And a lot of places there's like notes in the margins, which I don't really like when a page is like full of text and then it has like more text on the side. Like I just don't like the aesthetic of that. I just feel like there's just too much going on, and I hate that it's all in black and white. It's like not that interesting to read. I do feel like it's got some generally good information. I've definitely highlighted a good amount, but it's very consolidated. It doesn't have like a really long breakdown of like this month you can expect this, or this week this is happening with your baby. It's not super in-depth. I feel like it's a little bit more general and high level, but if you don't want something super in-depth and you just kind of want to like get the general gist of what's going on with you and your body and your baby like this month or this week, this would be a good one for you, especially because these chapters are just broken down by trimester, which is again probably why it's not very in-depth. So it's not super detailed. It's definitely got some baby related stuff in here, and it has a lot of pictures about birth and stuff like that. They're a little bit graphic. This book I'm not obsessed with, but it's okay. And again, if you want kind of a quicker read where you just kind of want a condensed version of what's going down, that could work for you. This book is another one I started reading before like we even really started trying to get pregnant. This is called The Healthy Pregnancy Book. I don't know that I would necessarily recommend reading a ton before you get pregnant about the pregnancy itself, because I read, like I said, this book and started this one, and I'm reading like what's gonna be happening in month 4 to me and the baby, and it's like so irrelevant and you're so not gonna remember anything. You're gonna worry about that when the time comes. It's better to take it piece by piece, which is again why I've been like reading these piece by piece even though I am pregnant. This book, feels a little outdated to me. I mean, not only does it like look outdated, but I feel like some of the information is very, I don't know, trying to like scare you into doing or not doing things, rather than giving you like a lot of the science, or kind of being more realistic about it, like gentle about it, like this is what's suggested or this is what a lot of people do. It's just, it kind of like makes you feel like if you don't do this, things are not gonna go good. Like, I don't know, so I'm not obsessed with that tactic. It does have a ton of information. This one goes month by month, and I feel like it's quite thorough and detailed. It's kind of like the Mayo Clinic one in the sense that it starts with the month, but then kind of has like a brief little discussion about what you can expect each week. It has a lot of sections about like how you might start feeling, things you might start noticing, maybe things you should start thinking about doing. A lot of it I haven't found to be like super relevant, and I honestly kind of feel like a lot of it is kind of fluff. Like they just wanted this book to be super long, so they were like, okay, let's talk about pregnancy skin, right? And you'd think there's like only a little bit to talk about, but then there's like this many pages, 10 plus pages about different things that can happen with your skin when you're pregnant. It just feels like it's like overkill. There's a lot of information, and like it goes a little too in depth. It's just a little too much in my opinion. So for that reason, I'm really not super crazy about this one. This one basically stops like right after pregnancy. It doesn't have anything really about postpartum or about baby, and that's pretty much it. So this one's like strictly pregnancy, not a lot of like pre-pregnancy, not a lot of like postpartum. And if you like a ton of information, I think this would be for you. It doesn't like overly harp on your nutrition or anything like that. So I feel like the title is potentially a little misleading, but I'm still reading all of these because I have them, and they all, like I said, have something a little bit different to offer. And I do find as I'm going through that I will like have, of course, crossover and definitely some overlap between like information across the boards. Like some of it's definitely repetitive, but oftentimes I'll read something in one book that I didn't see in any of the others. So I definitely think it is good to have a wide variety. This one I really like. This is called Expecting a 411, and there's actually a few different versions of this book. I think there's like a baby 411, a toddler 411, which I believe I bought, and I think there might even be one before you're expecting. I'm not 100% sure, but I really just like the shape and the size of this book. I like the aesthetic. I just think it's kind of cute and fun and playful. And what I like about this book is it's very informative. I feel like it not only just discusses kind of like the specifics of your pregnancy, like it does have a really small, like for example, this is all just about here, the first and second trimester. So it's not like a ton of week by week or month by month, which, like, as you probably noticed, a lot of these other books do just focus on what's happening with you right now and what's happening with the baby right now. This isn't so much about that. This is more just kind of like answering all your pregnancy questions. And I guess that's why it's called the 411. It's just kind of everything you'd be wondering about when you're pregnant. And the way that they set it up is kind of like a question and answer format. So it's like, how quickly will I lose my pregnancy weight? And then kind of has an answer. So it's not just like chapters and chapters or like sections and sections with just like blocks of information. It's all kind of set up in a way where like, here's a question you might have and here's an answer, which I really like because you can kind of be specific about what you're reading and you can skip certain sections. Like for example, this one question is, I had gastric bypass surgery 18 months ago and I am pregnant. Am I at any additional risk for complications? Like obviously I don't need to read that section. I've never had gastric bypass. So like you can kind of use the questions as prompts to read only like certain sections that are relevant to you, rather than wasting your time like just kind of reading and eventually determining that you just read a bunch of like irrelevant information. I like the way that this is spread out. It's got a good amount of charts. It's very informative. It's very approachable. It doesn't like freak you out. It's not like overly informative, but it's definitely helpful and it's very realistic. It's kind of funny in some ways. I've really liked it. There's even like some sections where it like warns you if you're kind of triggered by, you know, complications or miscarriage talk or anything like that. There's sections that they purposely put this little warning sign for you to like skip or avoid if you don't want to kind of like freak yourself out. And then these last couple sections are about like, you know, getting ready for actual birth, the actual labor, postpartum complications. There's even a section in here about like if you have infertility. And as you can see, it has all these different kind of like sections tabbed out. I really recommend this one. I have loved it. This book I've actually been really liking as well. This is Your Pregnancy Week by Week, and this is literally just that. It goes week by week, like week 1, week 2. It's not broken down into trimesters or into months. It's literally just broken down by week. So you'll see, for example, it says like week 29, and then it'll have like 15 pages just about like week 29. It's very structured how it's set up. It goes like, how big is your baby? How big are you? How's your baby developing? How are you developing? What to expect with you? Like it's very much the same setup through every single chapter. But of course, certain chapters focus more on like certain information, things you should think about doing, kind of like the other books. But this is very much just every week of your pregnancy, this is what's going on. These are some things to prepare for or think about. And then it pretty much stops after that, other than there's like this little breastfeeding section. It pretty much stops once you're not pregnant anymore. So there's not a ton of like pre or postpartum, post-pregnancy information in here. I do love like all the pictures in here. It's not totally black and white. It's basically black and white and blue. So again, it's not the most like best aesthetic, but I really have been liking this one. It's a good amount of information. I feel like it's just the right amount of information. It's not like overly in-depth, but it's also like, it's not boring either. I really do like this one, and I feel like it's pretty simple. It's to the point. If you just kind of want something like fairly basic and you just want to do one book, this might be a good one. It's a pretty narrow focus, but I do like that it's broken down week by week. So if you just want to like keep this on your nightstand and read the next chapter like the day that you know, switch into your next week, this is a really good like simple book. This last book I'm not super crazy about. It's called The Mindful Mom to Be, and it's written by a doula. It's a guide to building a healthy foundation from pregnancy through birth. I'm not super into like the, I don't know, like woo-woo part of all this. This is very much focused on kind of meditation and yoga and like kind of mentally connecting with your pregnancy. It's very like holistic, and I don't know, I just kind of hippie. So I'm not really super into that whole vibe, but I've still been reading it. It just goes month by month, so it doesn't have a breakdown of weeks or trimesters. It has a ton of different like yoga poses, breathing exercises, natural, you know, acne masks, like baths you can take, you know, just all with made out of yogurt and, you know, Epsom salt and things like that. Very natural. It's a lot about the mental side of it, I feel like, too, and how to like prepare mentally for pregnancy, how to stay calm, how to like have a healthy pregnancy mentally. So I do feel like there is a place for this book. It's just not totally my cup of tea. It does have some like general just healthy pregnancy information, different like smoothies you can make, how to do Kegels. It's not totally for me. So depending on what kind of person you are and if you're into this kind of vibe, I think you would like this because it is well done. And then last but not least, I just have a journal. I really recommended this one. This is like the only thing in this whole entire like haul or video that I purchased recently when I found out I was pregnant, and this is the First Time Mom's pregnancy journal. I got this on Target. I think it's available all over the place. It's just like a soft cover journal. I do kind of wish it was like a harder cover because this has already been kind of like bent and kind of like jangled up a little bit because it's just like, I don't know, it's like a coloring book. It's not like very sturdy, but it's really pretty. It's got like some really beautiful like quotes and like artwork. It's just, it's very beautiful, and I like the prompts in here. I feel like it's very thorough in kind of getting into like, what are you experiencing, what's new, just like making you think and jotting down things that you're probably gonna want to remember, you know, throughout your pregnancy and in the future and in future pregnancies and things like that. I really like this one a lot. It's not over the top. It's not like super like woo-woo or anything. I feel like it's just right. It's not too big. It doesn't ask for like a ton of pictures. It also gives you like little checklists throughout each month of things that you should be thinking about doing or buying or planning or appointments, like different things like that. And it also has charts every single, I think it goes by month, so I guess they have one per month. A little section for your prenatal appointments for each month, so you can keep track of how many you had, what was the date, how many weeks were you, what was your weight, what test did they conduct, did you have any questions, or did you find out? So it's also just a good way to keep track of different like milestones as you've gone along with different appointments. And it also just gives you prompts, things to write about. It also just has like a freestyle journal at the end of every month where you can just like write kind of things that have been going on. And like I said, such pretty quotes. And I've been using the freestyle journal for everything. Like I've used it every single month to write down just like random things that have happened or things that I've been feeling, because I really do want to remember like everything about this pregnancy, the dates, the times, the things that happened. I just want to remember everything. So I feel like the fact that this one is specifically geared towards a first-time mom is really nice. It like really kind of caters to questions that would be more relevant to first-time moms and things that you'd specifically like notice or want to remember if you've never had a baby before. So I definitely recommend this one. I really like it. I also just think it's cute. It's simple. I like it a lot. And then in terms of books that I bought for my husband, like I said, I don't have them all in front of me. I have the one right here. This is called We're Pregnant, the First Time Dad's Pregnancy Handbook. This has actually been his like preference. This has been his favorite. He has his little bookmark in it as well. This is the one that he's liked the best. I haven't read any of these, so I can't really give you like a full review on any of them, but this is the one that he's liked the best. Another one I got him was Dude, You're Gonna Be a Dad, How to Get Both of You Through the Next 9 Months. I got him From Dude to Dad, Dad, the Diaper Dude Guide to Pregnancy, which I think that's a pretty popular one. And then I also got him the Expectant Father, the Ultimate Guide for Dads to Be. So I will list those and link those in the description box as well if you're looking into some books for your partner or your spouse, your boyfriend or anything like that, because I feel like sometimes they can feel kind of left out of the pregnancy, and this not only like keeps them up to date on what's happening with you and your body and their baby, but also like will kind of clue them into like how you might be feeling, how you might be acting, like things that maybe they should or shouldn't do to like make this experience go smoothly for them and well in terms of like your hormones and your mood swings and stuff like that. I feel like it's a really good way for them to get informed. I mean, of course they could read your books too if they really like just want to know what's going on with you and the baby, but I feel like having a guy focused one is kind of nice for them. They can kind of feel like they're involved, they're staying up to date, they kind of know what's going on with you, since obviously they're not really part of like what's actually going on with you now. So this one's really nice though. It's super tiny, but it's like, it's in color, it's got just like cool graphics, and I just like the whole aesthetic of it. I definitely think that could be a cool option for you to get some books for your significant other or the father, just in case you want to kind of keep them looped in as well, and they can, you know, feel like they know what's going on. So I know this is probably a long video. I feel like I've been sitting here chatting for a while. This has been a lot of books to talk about. I hope that you got like the general idea of what they're about. Of course, they'll be linked down below, so if you guys want a better idea of like reviews and what like you think would be the best fit for you based on what kind of books or how you like to read, or like what your preference is in terms of like ingesting information, I will have them all listed down below for you guys, so you can kind of check that out and decide for yourself. I don't think it's like very normal to have like this size a stack of books that you're reading every single month or every single week. I think total between, oh, because I also have 2 like name books. Those are upstairs because obviously you don't need to be reading or referencing those constantly. And like I said, I have a ton of parenting books, so I think cumulatively I have like almost 30 books at this point relating to like pregnancy, baby, childhood, like all of that stuff. Taking care of baby, pregnancy, childhood, names, like we have just a whole library for it all. I don't think that's necessary at all, but that's just the kind of person I am in like school. I'm just the kind of person that likes to research, likes to read a lot, likes notes, likes to highlight. I just like to be very informed. So I definitely don't think you need all the books. I definitely think you can pick like maybe 1 or 2, unless you're like me and you just feel like you don't want to possibly miss out on any information, then certainly go to town. I feel like it's just kind of fun to just like really dive deep into like your pregnancy and your baby. It's just kind of fun and exciting. So I will list everything down below. I hope that you guys enjoyed. There's a lot of pregnancy content already up on my channel, a lot to come. So if you guys are interested in coming along this journey with us, or if you're thinking about becoming parents or are parents and want to follow along with our life, we do the vlogs, we do like the sit down content like this, all the things, and of course non-pregnancy related things as well. So if you guys would like to subscribe, we would love to have you. We have so much fun here, and until next time, I will see y'all in our next video. Bye guys.